Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Before we begin, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. It's often said that the most radiant smiles conceal the most profound struggles. Today, we're exploring a story that has touched millions. David Muir, the dependable face of American journalism, whose steady voice has narrated our nation's highs and lows, has received devastating news: a cancer diagnosis. Yet, that is not where the story concludes. In an emotional admission, his dearest friend and confidant, Kelly Ripa, has finally spoken out. For many years, their bond has been a beacon in the frequently jaded world of television. Now, as David confronts his greatest challenge, Kelly is by his side in a manner that has surprised everyone. This is more than a tale of celebrity friendship. It's a story about devotion, bravery, and the unexpected trials life presents. Stick around, because Kelly's revelation is not just heart-wrenching, but also incredibly inspiring. David Muir and Kelly Ripa have a connection that extends far beyond their on-screen personas. To the public, David is the solemn, astute anchor of ABC World News Tonight. In contrast, Kelly delivers humor, joy, and charm on Live with Kelly&Mark. But behind the scenes, they are each other's confidants. Kelly famously stated, "David is the brother I chose for myself." They enjoy dinners, travel together, and have late-night talks about everything from love to family. Their friendship has endured for decades, which is precisely why Kelly's response to David's diagnosis is so genuine and profoundly human. Because in times of crisis, fame and wealth become irrelevant. What truly matters are the people who guide you through the darkness. And as we are about to discover, Kelly's support has been unwavering. David Muir is accustomed to reporting the news, not being the subject of it. For years, he has been on the front lines of conflicts, natural disasters, and global health crises, always reporting with steadfast composure. This time, however, he was the headline. Doctors informed David that he has cancer. The news was delivered privately, far from the glare of cameras and public scrutiny. Yet, even the most resilient individuals cannot bear such a burden alone. So, David confided in the one person he trusted implicitly, Kelly Ripa. First came the tears, then a profound silence, and then Kelly uttered words that altered the course of everything. The first time Kelly addressed the public after hearing of David's diagnosis, her voice trembled and her eyes filled with tears. She expressed, "I wish I could take this burden from him, but since I am unable, I will help him carry it." These simple yet powerful words resonated with millions. Kelly admitted the news had shaken her completely, serving as a stark reminder of life's precariousness. However, it also sparked a powerful resolve within her. She was determined to be David's protector, his biggest supporter, and his rock when he needed it most. What she disclosed next was even more astonishing. In private, Kelly made a solemn promise to David. She swore that regardless of how difficult the path ahead became, he would never face it by himself. She adjusted her entire schedule, cleared her typically packed agenda, and prioritized David's well-being above all else. Friends who observed their interactions described Kelly's devotion as truly remarkable. She didn't just offer a listening ear, she took action, preparing meals, going with him to doctor's visits, and being the constant, reliable presence he needed. This transcended friendship. It was family by choice. As time went on, the strength of their connection became its own powerful narrative. Once news of David's illness was made public, the response was immense. Viewers who had relied on him for years inundated social media with well wishes and prayers. Amidst it all, Kelly used her own platform, not for herself, but to highlight David's bravery. She reminded everyone that even the people who appear the strongest require support. Her message struck a chord with the public, particularly with those who had experienced similar fights with their own loved ones. In an instant, the news anchor's story transformed into a reflection of the challenges faced by families all over the country. But the narrative was far from over, because beyond the public outpouring of support, a private battle was being waged. Even when confronting cancer, David Muir displayed the very traits that endeared him to the public as a journalist: composure under duress, quiet resolve, and a fiercely persistent optimism. Kelly shared that he was adamant about continuing his work for as long as he could. "The news cycle doesn't pause," he told her, "and I won't either." Yet there were times when the burden of his illness felt overwhelming. In those difficult moments, it was Kelly's encouragement, her sense of humor, and her steadfast faith in his recovery that buoyed his spirits. And David's response to her revealed the true depth of their connection. In one of their late-night conversations, David shared something with Kelly that moved her to tears. He said, "Kelly, I have covered countless tragedies, but only now do I grasp what it feels like to experience one firsthand. And I would not be able to get through this without you." For Kelly, this was the ultimate affirmation. For Kelly, this was the ultimate affirmation of her purpose in this fight. His confession wasn't a sign of weakness, but a profound act of trust that solidified their bond into something unbreakable. In that moment, she understood that her role was more than just a friend. She was his anchor in the fiercest storm of his life. The weight of his vulnerability became her strength, fueling a resolve to not just walk beside him, but to clear the path ahead, to absorb every shock she could, and to reflect back to him the light and courage he had always shown the world. His words gave her mission a new, deeper meaning. She wasn't just supporting a friend. She was holding up a man who had held the nation's hand through countless crises. Now, it was her turn. The days that followed were a grueling testament to that promise. The journey through treatment began, marked by a clinical rhythm of appointments, tests, and therapies that stood in stark contrast to their vibrant, fast-paced lives. Kelly became a fixture in sterile waiting rooms, her bright presence a defiant splash of color against the pale walls. She learned the language of oncology, of white blood cell counts and treatment cycles, not as a reporter, but as a caregiver. She discovered which foods he could tolerate after a round of chemotherapy and would show up at his door with a simple soup, a shared silence, or a story from her show so ridiculous it would coax a weary smile from him. She was his shield against the mundane terrors of the illness, handling schedules, fielding calls, and allowing him the space to focus solely on healing. Meanwhile, David's dedication to his work remained a source of awe. To the millions who tuned in each evening, he was the same composed, authoritative anchor. Few could detect the subtle fatigue in his eyes, or the monumental effort it took to deliver the news with his signature clarity. Behind the scenes, Kelly was his biggest supporter. They would run through scripts together over the phone, and she would often text him a message of encouragement moments before the broadcast went live. She helped him maintain a sense of normalcy and purpose, understanding that for David, the anchor chair was not just a job, but a core part of his identity. Continuing to work was his act of defiance against the disease, and Kelly fiercely protected his ability to do so. Their private struggle began to quietly shape their public personas in unexpected ways. On her show, Kelly spoke with a newfound depth about the importance of compassion and the profound strength of caregivers. Without ever revealing the specifics of David's battle, she championed the unsung heroes who support loved ones through illness, her words resonating with thousands who saw their own lives reflected in her heartfelt message. In turn, when David anchored stories about medical research or human resilience, there was a palpable empathy in his reporting. His experience was forging a new connection with his audience, one built not just on trust, but on a shared understanding of life's fragility and the quiet courage it takes to face it. The circle of support widened, with Kelly's husband, Mark Consuelos, becoming another pillar of strength. He admired the profound friendship between his wife and David and ensured Kelly had everything she needed to be there for him, often taking on more at home so she could be present for her friend.